Hello, it's Gail here from Three Wise Crafters and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be using Waffle Flowers balloon background die, as well as the Happy Birthday sentiment from Waffle Flowers birthday balloons die. I have a piece of A2 white distress Heavystock here, and I'm going to run that through with our die through the die cutting machine. And this is what it looks like after it's been die cut. Now, the balloon background die also has a separate stencil set available. I couldn't find my stencil set, so I decided that I was going to create a rainbow effect on our balloons. And I'm just using worn lipstick here to create our first color on our balloons. I was only going to use 3 ink colors, but you'll see that I end up bringing in 2 more ink colors just to create that rainbow effect. I wasn't really happy with how the worn lipstick ink blended into the yellow to make an orange. It wasn't the orange color that I was looking for, so I do end up bringing in a red. So I'm just using my Spellbinders Mr. Spray here. And I find if I spray straight away on my silicone mat, it doesn't stain my mat. You can see here that there is a couple of stains, and that's because I didn't clean up my ink straight away. So if I clean it up, I get no staining. So now I'm just ink blending mustard seed, and I ink blend that into the worn lipstick, and this is when I was like, no, this isn't working for the colors that I was hoping for, and I'll bring in Candied Apple soon to create that orange effect, which I did like a lot better. It always surprises me how well and easy distress inks blend together, and it's the same with the Distress Oxide inks. They blend together so well also that I tend to forget to do a lot of ink blending like this with my distress inks. And it never ceases to amaze me how well it looks when it all comes together. So you'll see that I'll bring in the Candied Apple now, and that will just give us that orange effect that I was going for with the rainbow, and I end up liking it so much better than I did with the worn lipstick. So I'm not sure whether you have this in your stash or not. I decided to bring something out of my stash to use for today's project. I needed a birthday card for a children's birthday party that my daughter was going to, and I realized I didn't have any birthday cards for children left in my stash of cards that I've made. So I needed something that was going to be quick and easy to make, as she was going to the birthday party on the same day. We only received notice of the birthday party late. It didn't give me much time with everything else to create a birthday card. So this just shows you how quick and easy this card was to make. I haven't edited out any of the ink blending, so you're seeing this in real time, and it gives you an idea of how quick this project was. And sometimes I also forget that there are quick and easy projects out there that you can make if you are in a hurry. So sometimes it is a good idea to go through your card making supplies and just see what you've got on hand that you can create something that's quick and easy. So now I'm bringing in the Mermaid Lagoon, and this will create our blue shading, but also our green when that is ink blended into the mustard seed. And it was here that I was like, oh, I didn't want the blue and the green to be in the bottom third. So I will end up bringing in a purple color in Seedless Preserves, which you'll see soon. So I really ended up liking how the finished card looked. I wasn't sure because the Seedless Preserves was a little bit dark, but I end up doing some splatter or spatter, depending on what you call it, and I thought that that just suited the card a lot better. So you can see here that we're getting that green shading. I probably could have done a little bit more of the green, but it gave the rainbow effect, so I wasn't too worried with how that part of the card looked. So this is a project that if you have young children or grandchildren, you would be able to create with them as well. I know my daughter absolutely loves doing stenciling, and ink blending like this is something that she enjoys as well. So she could have actually made this card for her friend. So here I'm just doing the seedless preserves, and once it blends with the Mermaid Lagoon, it creates a darker shade of blue, or sort of indigo, if you want to call it indigo. And I liked how that turned out on our card as well. So we end up with multiple shades of color for our rainbow, and it's a happy card, and I wanted a happy card for this birthday party. So just to make sure that the ink blending is smooth, you always need to go back in with your previous color and just create that smoothness between the two colors that you're ink blending. And this is where the indigo or the darker blue shade was created by going back in with the Mermaid Lagoon. So we've finished all of our ink blending now, and we'll end up moving on with our splatter or spatter, and I'm using Starry colors here. Now, I can't say the brand name. I think it's Kuretake. I'm not sure, but these are made in Japan anyway, and they're widely available. I have purchased some off Amazon before. So there's 6 shades here, from a white to various shades of gold, and they've got a shimmer effect to them. So I'm using a fine paintbrush here. Normally I use a fan brush to do my splatter or spatter, and I like the effect that the fan brush gives more than I do the fine brush. But everybody has their own preference for what type of brush they use to do this. So use what you're comfortable with. We're all different, and some things work easier for us than other products. And I find the fan brush just works a lot easier for me. As you can see, I spend a fair bit of time here tapping the brush, and I wasn't getting the effects that I wanted with the droplets. They were very, very small. So, and that can come down to the size of the paintbrush that you use at times too. So if you use a bigger brush, you'll end up with bigger splatter, and that may not be the look that you're going for either. Having said that, I did like the gold shimmer and the fine sparkle that it gave to the card. So here I've just got some gold mirror foil, and I'm trimming that down to size. If I put that whole piece through my die cutting machine, the leftover of the gold foil would have ended up damaged by the cutting plates, especially if they've already got marks in them from previous die cutting. That will transfer to any of your foil cardstock. So it's always a good idea to trim that down. And I also, you'll see me here once I've got it lined up on my cutting plate and I've taped it down, that I'll end up placing a paper shim over the top of it, and that just protects the foil even more. But it also protects your cutting plate a little bit from getting more impressions in it from your dies. So once that's been through a die cutting machine, you can see what the letters look like here. And I just used some low tack tape to pick up the letters. I should have shifted that tape so that it was only half on the letters, and then that would have made it easier for placement later, like I'm doing here with the birthday. But you'll see later in the video that I have shifted that tape on the happy, just so it's easier to apply the glue to the back of the letters, which you can see here that I've done that. So I'm just using Gina K Connect glue in a fine tip bottle, and this just makes it so much easier to apply your glue to fine detail like these letters are. Now, these letters are too thin for me to apply foam adhesive to, but you could have die cut this out of multiple card panels, and you could have glued all of your letters onto each other and created dimension that way. I ended up using foam adhesive on the back of the balloons, so I didn't want to create any more dimension than what I already had. As this card was being hand delivered, I could have easily die cut the happy birthday out of extra cardstock and created that extra dimension. It wasn't going through the mail, so it didn't matter if it was too bulky, but sometimes taking the simple approach works just as well and is just as effective. And here, using the tape makes it so much easier to keep your letters at the right spacing and to make it easier to place them down onto your card panel here, as you can see. So just be careful when you remove your adhesive tape, as sometimes if the letters haven't stuck as securely as what we want, they can lift up as we're peeling off the tape. And when my fingers were holding down some of these letters, the letter A from the happy ended up lifting up, and I did end up gluing that back on off camera. So you can see here that they're all in place and looks relatively straight. And now I'm just scoring a card panel here that is Nina Solar White in 110 and making that into an A2 card base. And I'm using my score buddy to do this, which makes it really easy to line up where I need all of the scoring to go. So you'll see that I'm using my low tack adhesive here, and I'm just rolling that up into a circle so I can place that inside the card. And that just holds our card base together and makes it easier to place our card panel on the front. So here I'm using 3M Scotch foam adhesive, and I get that off Amazon. So all the supplies that I use in today's video will be listed in the video description. So make sure you check that out. And once I've got all the backing pieces removed from the foam adhesive, I'll use the Gina K Design Connect glue again, and I put that on the back of all of my foam adhesive just so that I've got a bit of wriggle room to apply the card panel. So if I didn't adhere it straight, I've got some time to be able to reposition it if I need to. If I didn't put the glue on the foam adhesive, once it's stuck down and it tears the card base or the other card pieces if you're using multiple layers. So that was really easy to adhere to the card base, as you can see. And that's our finished card. So I hope that you've enjoyed watching today's video and seen how quick and easy it was to create this card. If you have enjoyed watching the video, please make sure that you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel while you're there. Thank you so much for watching.